There once existed, during the classical era, two relatively short empires that made long-lasting impacts, the Qing and the Mauryan dynasties. What is really renowned for in those two empires are their two famously harsh emperors, Qin Shi Huang in China and Ashoka in India. So which one is the mightier empire? Or rather, which one had the mightier ruler? Let us start by examining, first, the establishments of the Qin Shi Huangdi. Born in 220 BCE, Qin Shi Huang was part of the era of warring states, and of course, he was of Qing descent, which means that he was born into a major regional kingdom. When he rose to power, he deposed of the last Zhou emperor and reunited China once again. So how was the empire like when Qin Shi Huang ruled? China retained its patriarchy and hierarchy, which means that men were in power and people were divided by rank and wealth, from top to bottom, with slaves, merchants surprisingly, artisans and commoners or peasants, nobles and bureaucrats, and finally, on top, the emperor himself. Qin Shi Huang was known for his brutality and centralized bureaucracy, which divided the country into provinces and was effective in keeping his large empire, which extends all the way to Vietnam, together. However, the emperor was unpopular, and his harshness was not his only reason of being hated. His sky-high taxes for both personal and public projects were unpopular as well. The Great Wall, built in the north to prevent nomadic invasions, was useful, but caused an abundance of deaths. The mausoleum, built as his own personal tomb, caused even more outrage. However, all upheavals were suppressed, much due to Qin Shi Huang's belief in legalism, which states that people need to be controlled, since they are naturally evil. To establish this, and the ease of trade, Qin Shi Huang centralized China along with a standardized language, both spoken and written, currencies such as copper coins, weights, and measures. Roads are improved for ease of travel and trade as well, which was not extensive but existent and depended on the high-quality silk that was manufactured. Overall, Qin Shi Huang was extremely effective and just what China needed to reunite.
While the Qin dynasty had Shi Huangdi, the Mauryan dynasty had Ashoka, also known as the bloodthirsty warrior, in his early stages. The Mauryans boasted of large armies with chariots and elephants. Oh yeah, and soldiers riding on elephants, of course. Ashoka helped expand the empire his grandfather, Chandragupta, created, uniting much of the Indian subcontinent. Hinduism helped establish a rigid caste system. This consisted of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, Untouchables, and many subcategories in between. Before the Mauryans, the Vedic and epic ages included much of the history of India. These were sacred texts that were more often than not passed down orally. Sanskrit was used but not yet widely promoted. Meanwhile, the elephant armies pushed on. After killing numerous people, Ashoka reached a period of respite, where he decided to convert to Buddhism, revoke his violent ways, and keep the elephants as pets. Disclaimer, elephants as Ashoka's pets were not yet verified. He built famous rock and pillar edicts throughout the empire and insisted that his citizens follow Buddhist beliefs such as the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, and Nirvana. This brought solace to the population. While Buddhism allowed more equality, the caste system was still intact. Also, patriarchy still prevailed. During the Mauryan dynasty, cotton, silk, dyes, drugs, gold, ivory, and, oh hey, pet elephants were traded for pottery, wines, metals, and gold. Merchants traded in the Middle East and also on the Silk Roads. The Indian Ocean dominated maritime trade. However, the economy remained mostly agricultural. Monsoons, or seasonal rains, were crucial for farming, as were the Indus and Ganges river valleys. And finally, the most important crucial fact of all, the Qin suck. Ha!
Besides the obvious Great Wall of China, Shi Huangdi built a huge mausoleum, one pit expanding 4,260 meters squared. He united China with a centralized government and formed a great army as well. Also, a great network of trade routes were built, and weights, currency, and units of measurements were standardized that facilitated trade.
Well, our brilliant emperor Ashoka expanded over almost the entire Indian subcontinent and built such beautiful pillars all around the empire to proclaim the greatness of Buddhism. The Mauryans profited a lot from good trading contacts with Asia and the Mediterranean.
Thanks to the Qin dynasty, the prosperous Han dynasty flourished in every aspect, such as art, literature, bureaucracy, great inventions, and so much more. Qin Shi Huangdi centralized China. His strong centralization of government allowed the later Han dynasty to build upon it and create a great bureaucracy. He also gave the Chinese a sense of nationalism that persisted for thousands of years and allowed China to prosper without much outside influence. Also, Shi Huangdi's adaptation of legalism allowed China to have a strong government.
Well, the Mauryan Empire's autocratic rule served as a precedent for later dynasties such as the Gupta. Also, our caste system persisted through many centuries and left a legacy on Indian society. The brilliant Ashoka spread Buddhism all around India and still remains as one of India's most main religions.
China today no longer has the strong monarchy with the mandate of heaven, but it's still very autocratic. The Great Wall of China and Mausoleum still stand today, evidence that the architecture of the Qin dynasty left a great legacy.
Of course, the territorial border fluctuated, but modern India is around the same size as the Mauryan dynasty. Also, the edicts of Ashoka still stand today as one of the world's fabulous wonders. And India is producing many of the world's greatest scientists, similar to what happened in the Mauryan dynasty. Oh, India, the land of the great, where the man is viewed as the most awesome mate. In our caste system, the top is the Brahmin, then the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and Untouchables. Then there is the brilliant Ashoka, the grandson of Chandragupta. He annexed so much land, not that he killed so many people by hand. He maintained a strong, centralized government and had tons of military elephants. His people dealt with yearly monsoons and farmed by the Ganges and Indus. And once again, our brilliant Ashoka brought nirvana and built great pillars all around India. FYI, it's so much better than your legalism. Our traders and merchants traveled through the Indian Ocean and gave others our cotton, silk, and ivory.
The most amazing dynasty was the Qin. The males were so in. Mauryan didn't even reach Qin's chin. The Qin dynasty is so nice. The Mauryan Empire is like mice. While the Qin dynasty had rice, Mauryan had spice. Qin had the Great Wall. Mauryan only had elephant armies and nothing else at all. Shi Huangdi was the greatest empire of all time. Construction projects, high taxes, and loyalty of all. All swore loyalty to him. The nobles and bureaucracy bowed for his great majesty. He built versatile roads that were elegant, and copper coins were the standardized money. Legalism spread, no need for gods. Mandarin was the standardized language throughout all of China. The social structure was emperor, nobles, artisans, and commoners, merchants, and lastly, slaves. and that shows the order and discipline, so we have the glory.
No, we have the glory.
No, the Qin has the glory because the Qin managed to unite China during the chaotic period of the era of the warring states. Qin left a sustaining empire with a great legacy, while the Mauryan dynasty did not have durable roots and completely fell apart. We have the glory, and we are the mightiest empire.